Uh-oh. Here comes trouble.
Straight from Twin Town Sports Central. I have nothing clever to say right here. Oh well. Hey, it's the Grovcast. Eric Grover here, Daily News Sports Editor. And there's no need to daydream, because our local teams are winning games right now. Start with Wahpeton basketball, who began their seasons, boys and girls, on Tuesday night with a pair of big wins. Important to start that season off the right way, and the Huskies and the Lady Huskies got the job done. Let's start with the boys. Game I attended last night. Good crowd on hand for a 14-point win over Grand Forks Central. The home floor is going to be important for this team that wants to compete at the top of the Eastern Dakota Conference all year long. Got to protect that home floor. They did just that. They got it done despite not shooting the three ball well. That's supposed to be a strength of this team. That didn't happen last night. Sure, they hit a three every now and then, but the percentages were not where Coach Jeff Ralph and his players want them to be. So that's encouraging, because these three balls are going to go down better than they did on Tuesday, and they still won by 14 points. You got to look at the play of Zane Medhog as a reason why the Huskies were able to be so successful. He's matched up on Grand Forks' toughest player, who still got 20 points, but Zane countered with 15, and he and Nick Holcup were tough on the inside, grabbing rebounds. Jack Christensen with 9 rebounds. He's only a sophomore. Sky's the limit for this kid. Wahpeton is in a great situation right now. 1-0, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season progresses for them. They'll have a big test against Fargo Davies next week, a team that is supposed to be right at the top of the league. So these Huskies are going to find out right where they are immediately. And then the Lady Huskies moved to 1-0 after a 45-41 win. Probably wasn't the prettiest game to watch, but it's a win nonetheless. And this is an important way to start the season for a young team. Getting a win, only 3 wins last year. Hey, they're already at 1. That's good to see. Tough defense, I'm told, was a big factor. And Allison Albright, calling you Allison now, and Tawny Irwin, each with 12 points, scoring half the points for Wahpeton. They're going to need to do that all season long, so that's no surprise right there. Hopefully they can keep it up. And on a down note, the Blades got their season going on Saturday. The hockey team falling 3-0 to Apollo. Now, I know they're missing a few guys here, but I'd like to see a little bit more out of them on the offensive end. Against Apollo, they were on the back foot on their own side, protecting their own goal for most of the game. Something's got to change there. I'd like to see a little more offense. Yeah, that head nod says it all. This song can only mean one thing. It's Miles Trump time around the Grovcast. Miles, the Daily News reporter. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. The weather's nice. It's sunny. I can't complain.
Where's the snow?
I don't know, but I hope it stays away as far away as it can for a while.
Yeah, well, there is no snow on the ground, but there is lots of sports action.
There definitely is.
It doesn't really make sense, but let's do it anyway.
Yes.
So what's on your mind?
Well, I've just eaten my ham sandwich.
I was going to have a turkey sandwich.
Yeah, lettuce, tomato, pepper jack cheese.
Very nice.
Sun chips.
I'm a provolone man myself.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. And I was watching ESPN.
Okay.
Tonight on my ritual.
Yeah.
And doing a little bit of Heisman talk.
Okay.
So I figure that can't hurt.
All right. Well, are you a big college football fan?
Not huge.
Okay.
I follow it, but not huge.
You know, I'm kind of in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
I'm not a big college football guy, but I definitely pay attention to the Heisman race.
Definitely.
This one, is there a clear-cut favorite?
I don't know. I don't think so. From what I've seen on other people talking on ESPN, it's kind of spread. But I know that Andrew Luck is the only returning candidate, and so he, by default, already has a good shot at it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that doesn't really work because I don't really buy that. I think that the Heisman voters do a good job of just looking at this season's work.
Yep.
And here's a great example. When Tebow won his Heisman in his junior year, the next season he was obviously a Heisman candidate,
Yep.
did the exact same thing, and did not win the Heisman.
Right.
So, I don't know. It certainly won't hurt Andrew Luck, but I don't think that'll be much of a help.
I don't know if he's a front runner. At the beginning of the season, he easily was the biggest front runner preseason. I know. I like Trent Richardson, especially.
He's a monster.
Yeah, especially because he's dominated in games where it's clear that their passing game wasn't great. Mm-hmm. It's clear that he's going to get the ball 20, 30 times a game, and he's still dominated against some of the best competition in college football.
Who's better, Mark Ingram or Trent Richardson?
I think it's my personal taste that I like Trent Richardson's style.
I like more. He's more powerful.
Yeah, and not that Mark Ingram wasn't. I think Trent Richardson's got a better mix of power and agility.
Yeah, he makes people miss. I mean, we've all seen the highlights of him making dudes look foolish.
Yeah, and he just run people over too. He's like a Marshawn Lynch in a sense, where he just doesn't want to go down to the ground.
Have you been surprised at what little impact Mark Ingram has had on the New Orleans Saints this year? Because he's, obviously Sproles has played very well, but even when Ingram is getting his touches, he's not really contributing all that much.
Yeah, I actually am not surprised though. I never thought that Mark Ingram was going to be a big time NFL running back. I was actually kind of surprised that he was the starter in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think they...
He was,
yeah. I don't think that they thought at the time that they were going to get this much action out of Darren Sproles.
Yeah.
Because he's been unbelievable this year.
He's been great. So let's go back to Heisman.
Yep.
Who's your guy? Who's your pick if you get the vote?
I think I gotta go with Trent Richardson.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I just like the way that. And what sells it for me is that they played some of the toughest teams in college football, and he continually dominated. When they knew that he was going to run the ball.
Now I have not even seen that the other leading guy. It's been Luck and Richardson, as we talked about, and the other guy is
Robert
Griffin III from Baylor. Now I haven't even seen him play.
I don't know if anyone has, because I don't think they're on TV too much.
Do they put Baylor games on TV?
I don't think, not too often.
Probably not. So that's probably gonna, this guy might be the best player in the nation. I have no idea.
Right. Yeah. That's what. Actually, on just watching today, that's what Todd McShay, the ESPN analyst, was saying was his pick, and he actually has a vote for the Heisman. He's on the voting committee.
Oh, isn't that nice?
Yeah. And he said
How do I get on the Heisman voting?
A lot of hard work.
Do you think that they'll give me the game day package for free?
They might.
What's going on here?
Must be a blizzard in early winter.
Storm warning going on.
Well, they might now, since you're NFL owner.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, I bought a share of stock from the Green Bay Packers on Tuesday, and my reaction was just hysterical laughter. The whole thing is so ridiculous to me. It's cool. Yeah.
Let me just ask, what does it feel like to own an NFL franchise?
You know what? I still put on my pants the same way, picking them up off the ground after they're dirty on the floor. So, it's cool. I'm not going to pretend like it's a big deal.
But it's a big deal. Okay.
It is?
As co-owner of the Green Bay Packers.
Of the 12-0 Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. What kind of organizational changes are you hoping to see in the future?
Well, I'm going to double the beer lines.
Okay.
And more beer stands. I hate waiting in line. We're going to just get rid of halftime altogether and just, one quarter after another. I think that, let's get these games done in 2 hours. I got other games to watch.
Okay.
And, geez, you're putting me on the spot. What I would do for the Packers is I would create some new uniforms.
Unis.
I'd go with, you can't replace the classic green and gold.
Right.
But these would be an alternate jersey to be worn once a season. I'd go blaze orange, because we got a large hunting population in Wisconsin. I think that would be a perfect, I'd buy one. I don't even hunt.
What about the sort of brown and blue, gold and blue?
Those are cool. The retros.
Would you eat those?
Oh, absolutely. I like those. Also, I'd make myself the punter or the kicker.
I don't know if you have that power.
Dude, I'm like I'm asymmetrical. Like I just work out my one leg here. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go on an intense training regimen for about 2-3 years. Just work out my right leg. That's it. I'm gonna look exactly the same, except I'm just gonna have this beefy leg here, and I'm going to be able to kick the ball 70 yards. No one's ever done it before. Everyone is working out the core muscles and doing equal. Not me. I'm going asymmetrical.
It might be the new wave of exercise. Yeah. A revolution.
People will call me the leg, which isn't the most unique nickname, but it definitely.
I think it gets the point across.
Yeah. All right. So, NBA, MLB, free agency is underway. Lots of big names being talked about. What's the biggest story for you? Is it Pujols or is it...
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pujols, possibly thinking maybe about going to the Miami Marlins.
The Miami Marlins. No, that's a cool sounding name.
Right, I know.
I like.
Notice I didn't say Florida.
No, I never liked the name Florida Marlins, but it's got that alliteration, the M's going together.
Exactly.
It works together.
Exactly. Or you talk about in the NBA, talks of Dwight Howard and Chris Paul going together to the Lakers. Is that even possible? I don't know.
Well, they'd have to trade away Bynum, Gasol, and Lamar Odom.
Right.
To make that possible, which you would obviously do.
Yeah.
You would obviously do. Yeah, those guys are garbage. Well, Gasol is good,
right?
And Bynum shows promise, but oh my gosh, yeah, dump him.
You're talking about Dwight Howard.
Yeah,
arguably the best center in the league, and
he's the best.
And Chris Paul,
who's arguably the best point guard.
Exactly.
I don't think that they have enough draft picks and trade bait to make that happen. My prediction is that Dwight Howard will go to the Lakers eventually. If not this year, next year, however that plays out. And then Chris Paul is going to go to the Knicks, which is what everybody's been saying.
Yeah.
So we're going to have 3 super teams, the Lakers, the Knicks, and the Heat.
Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't like the trend.
And don't forget about the Mavericks, who actually won the championship.
Yeah, no one gives them any credit.
Yeah.
I don't like their chances of repeating. I think they got no shot. I think that they just teamed it, and it was the collective ball of hate just swirling around Miami from all of America. It was just, it was like El Nino. It was like reverse El Nino. It was going south instead of going north.
That's right.
And
Dirk Nowitzki played out of his mind.
You still gotta like Miami for next year, though.
Oh, absolutely.
They're the favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, what you think with all that, with 3 guys, that's it. I mean, Mike Miller was their 4th, kind of.
Yeah.
It doesn't even count. But he was hurt, and so they'll have a draft pick to sign. Who did they take in the first round? I don't even know.
I don't know either, actually. Yeah. I have no idea.
I have no idea either. The draft was so long ago. But I'm sure they were smart enough to get, some guy who can fill up minutes.
Right.
And with the new cap agreement is gonna allow the Heat to get another free agent, like a decent one. I've heard talks of like a Jason Richardson, which is the last thing they need. Yeah, that's what they need, another scorer. Perfect. But, I'm sure they'll make it work. I don't know.
I just can't imagine. I think it's interesting that you said that Chris Paul, if he ends up at the Knicks will be just a dominant team in the East as well.
Who's going to stop? Well, I mean, besides the Heat, it's going to be the Heat and the Knicks, and then the Lakers will run into whichever beast from the West is going to be good this year.
Yep.
The Spurs are fading. I think they're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Which is sad. I like their run. As a small market homer, I love what the Spurs have been able to put together for the last 10 years.
Yeah, basically my entire life of watching basketball, they've been good.
Now, speaking of the Western Conference, there's a team in Minnesota called the Timberwolves.
I've heard of them.
Now, what do you think of their chances this year? They finished last in the conference a year ago. It's, nowhere to go but up, right?
You would hope so.
Yeah.
If you base it on Minnesota franchises in general, you're usually nowhere to go but up. But, I don't know. I don't know what I think about the Timberwolves, to be honest. They're obviously young. They have a lack of a star, even though...
What are you talking about?
Kevin Love hasn't been the star player. I don't think he's not a go-to guy in the clutch. He's a guy that scores 50 points.
Over a course of a game.
And grabs a ton of rebounds every game.
So you're telling me you're not excited for Ricky Rubio finally to start dishing the ball and getting 10 assists?
I'm excited to see him, but I just don't buy into the Ricky Rubio hype. I don't believe he's going to be that great. They talk about how he's obviously a great passer, which is why he was such a coveted draft pick right away, but yeah, I don't think his scoring ability is all that great.
I mean, Beasley's getting better.
He is, but he's
actually the top paid player on the team. Did you know that?
He is, yeah. But it seems like every year he's got some off the court issue or problem. And it definitely doesn't help team morale whatsoever.
What about Derek Williams entering the fray as a beast from Arizona?
I like Derek Williams, but he also makes me nervous in the same sense that he had a really good run when Arizona had a good run, and he was good all year. But
they were Elite Eight, right? Elite Eight or Final Four.
They lost to UConn on like a game-winning shot. Mm-hmm. So they got hot at the end, and Derek Williams was the man in the tournament and postseason and second half of the season. But he just makes me nervous too because
he's like another Beasley.
Yeah,
he's like the same size, did the same things in college. I think Beasley was a little bigger.
Yeah, I think Beasley had more finesse, and Derek Williams is more of a power guy, but they can still step outside and shoot. But it just makes me nervous, the fact that he got hot. I think he's just a guy, a good player that got really hot, and that's what boosted his stock a lot in the NBA draft. And I think it was just a weaker draft class in general.
So you look at it, if you look at the Timberwolves starting lineup, it doesn't sound that bad, dude. It looks really good. Okay, here it is. Let me run it through for you. Ricky Rubio at the 1.
Yep.
You have, what's his name? Wesley Johnson. You'd move him to the 2.
Yeah, and he's okay, actually.
He didn't have a bad year. I mean, I think when he was drafted last year, no one had expectations of him becoming an all-star. He's just going to be a key contributor. And then you put Williams at the 3, or Beasley at the 4. You can kind of, cross those guys. And then you put Kevin Love at the 5. I mean, I know... they won't have a 7-footer on the floor, but I think you got to put Kevin Love at the 5 and put Williams in there, because he's got the potential.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't get my hopes up for Minnesota Timberwolves basketball games. It's a defense mechanism.
I think that they're a couple years off.
Definitely.
Because you got so many new faces coming in. I mean, Rubio and Williams. You got to give them at least a year to mesh with these guys.
The lockout didn't help anything either.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't think that it hurt really.
I just think about cutting into the time that they have. to play with each other.
Yeah, they'll have less time, but I think this year they certainly won't be have the worst record in the league, and I think that, I mean, I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but they definitely have a shot to be in the middle of their division.
I think I would be happy if they win. In the past couple of years, it's been tough for them to get to the 20 win mark.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
If they can get
that's a plateau
past there, you can call this year, you can chalk it up to a success. In Timberwolves standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, boys and girls. That's going to do it for another Grovcast. You hear the melancholy music. It only makes sense. I want to thank Miles Trump for coming by, sharing the love. Hey, good luck to all the teams out there this week. Clearing the gutters, getting by, looking ahead, day you die. We'll catch you next week on the Grovcast.